Let's see what other quacks will form in the fabric of space-time. This week on Hapless Heroes.
Why do I know the stars?
Because you're convinced you are one.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Hapless Heroes podcast.
Thanks,
I'm Francesco. Hey, you're welcome. Hey, thanks.
You don't usually welcome me. I knew that was directed at me this week, though.
It was. Specifically you, no one else.
Thank you. Thanks for welcoming me.
I'm Francesco, and tonight I continue to be your host and DM as we dive back into our adventure in time. And in order to do that, I need to introduce our cast for the evening. To my virtual left, we have Dave as Zero, Valen's Avatar of War.
Good evening.
Mike as Lord and Captain Quinn Southwind.
Always at my service.
Nicole as Boris the Butcher.
Cheryl's gonna eat all my cookies.
Zach as Pregnart.
Quack, 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 quack.
And John as Lord Jarrell the Light.
Speaking of cookies, could I get one of those boxes, Boris?
Phil could not be with us for this particular session, but as always, we shall soldier on and find some fun improvisational method to explain away his absence, because that's what we do and have been doing for the last 5 years. And well, you're used to it by now. So here we go.
We're broken.
When we last left off, y'all had infiltrated Ebenezzar's house. And by y'all, I mean Hedrick and Quinn had. The door was conveniently opened through some clever action and a clever plan from Boris and Jarrell, posing as sort of father-daughter duo selling Girl Guide cookies in the in the neighborhood that Ebenezzar resided, and are currently still in the process of selling those cookies to maintain their disguise. But you were able to at least get into the mansion where Ebenezzar lived, and Quinn and Hedrick had done some snooping around. Obviously, you had met Ebenezar's son and his wife, and his son was going on about wanting to fix things, and he seemed to be really down on himself, and just seems very determined to be a good wizard. There's a lot going on there, and he delivered a pretty dramatic speech to his mother, and
it kind of seemed like he may have been expelled, right?
No, I mean, who knows? He's home right now and not at school, so we don't really, there wasn't really anything too much revealed about that. Just that he seems to be pretty involved in, whatever went down there. And I think that based on what y'all have experienced, what information you've gathered so far, I think a lot of connections and inferences can be made. I know that even just that story beat moment after we finished recording that episode inspired a lot of conversation and speculation amongst all of you. So
a lot of us think his name is Ebonezzar Jr.
I cannot confirm nor deny that information.
Your face speaks volumes.
A
face is worth volume words.
Does it though?
Yeah, I don't know. Yes. Oh, that face. For the listeners at home, Fran's face is basically writing a novel for me right now.
Is it?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's crazy.
I just don't know it's the novel you want to read, though.
Well,
yeah.
The only way to find out, I guess, is to just play the freaking game. So we're going to drop on in, and something interesting starts to happen inside the Ebenezzar Blackwood residence. There is after this dramatic speech, and Ebenezar's son storms back up to his room after his mother tells him just to wait till his father gets home so they can talk about it as a family. There is a loud popping noise coming from the top floor of this mansion. And there is a brief, well, no, wait, that sounded a bit like Hedrick before you can't hear him anymore. 0.
Yes.
Pragnart.
Here.
The inert, and barely life, and not lifeless, but barely like life filled, a body of double of Hedrick goes slack, like just ragdolls. Where it was previously kind of stiff and just doing that, like, half wave, right? Now
No,
just
he was
like
pretty
goes,
loose before. Pregnant was giving him like a pretty
Oh
pretty
yeah,
nice
you were.
foot massage.
Oh yeah. So now you have no idea whether it was because of the foot massage or because of something else happening.
Pregnart's thoroughly
So-
convinced that his foot massage was just doing wonders for
I love
fake
it.
Hedrick.
Yeah. So
No,
now you
I'm-
have a limp, Hedrick body.
Quinn
you
is in the
are currently working
room
with.
with Hedrick when it happens.
Well, kind of. You're in the house. You guys weren't necessarily next to each other, right? You were exploring different places. I think he may have followed you a bit to hear that conversation, right?
Mhm,
But
mhm.
you weren't like right
'Cause
next to each other.
Right, and we discovered that we couldn't see each other anyway, so I really didn't know where he was.
Right.
But so do I hear it? Like
No,
I
but you
hear
feel
it.
something.
Okay. What do I feel?
Your invisibility spell is waning. You look down and you can start to see like the slight silhouette of your hands.
Oh no.
It's like reverse Back to
and
the Future.
it's prematurely ending. This you definitely had a little bit more time left on this. You are certain. But I'm going to say now that you're going to have to make stealth checks to
Sure.
get out of here,
Mhm.
because you see now that Ebenezzar's kid and his mother. You see the kid made it upstairs, and he's now like, Mom, there was somebody here. He's not here anymore, but he was. I swear I saw somebody. And his mother goes, "Oh, activate the wards. You know what to do. You know we've practiced this. I know you can do it, son."
Is
you can
it
see
me
he-
that he saw, or is it Hedrick that he saw?
You're not near him when he said it, so
So it
you
wasn't
can
me.
assume that it might have been Hedrick.
Okay.
You can see if you're are you moving toward like you're currently not within eye shot, right? But you hear this you hear this conversation happening now, this back and forth, like they're starting to scramble.
Did I take the journal that was on the desk? I took that, right?
I believe
Either you or Hedrick did. I think it was you.
I wasn't sure if
I
you
think
guys
it was
took
me.
it or if you had just examined it.
Well, it's in my hand, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so
So,
then it's you have it.
I hope I remember that correct, because I know we were looking at it toward the end of the episode. So
It's been a few weeks, but I don't think that it was necessarily super important. I guess it's
Sure.
better just to know whether you did or did not leave the room disturbed.
I am slipping it into my cloak.
Okay, you slip it into your cloak. Again,
I did not
you
have enough
can't-
time with it.
When you do slip it into your cloak, you notice you can see, again, very slight. You're almost like what is it? Translucent, but
Like
not
opaque.
Yeah, no. Opaque is you can be seen entirely.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
But
mhm.
you're like
Translucent.
transparent, translucent, right? Like like your form is. You can definitely okay. If you were to just be standing in the middle of a hallway, someone would see you if they
Am
were.
am I like glimmering?
No.
Oh, damn.
No, but it
okay.
feels like pins and needles, like the magic.
Ooh,
on
I don't
your
like
skin.
that.
Yeah, it
Mm-mm.
feels like it's like you feel like almost like your limbs like fell asleep for a second, and like all the blood's returning to your blood vessels. Like you kind of feel that around you as sort of the magic is almost like being suppressed.
Okay. I am going to attempt to peek out into the hallway.
Okay, so right, you were in. I believe you were. I'm trying to remember where you were when you were listening to the conversation initially, because like I know you guys had gone down.
I went to
I
the
think.
right, and then because there's two staircases, I'm near.
Mhm. Yeah, you were on the right side,
rightmost staircase. Yeah,
but you were upstairs.
I was upstairs.
Okay, in that case, you can see that Ebenezer's kid is starting to like. You can see him weaving some sort of like spell as he's like moving some of the paintings on the walls that I had described around and whatnot, and like readjusting certain things, and and you can start to see that like there's like almost like a shimmering energy starting to cover the walls of the house. It's sort of spreading out from the areas that he's like manipulating and touching.
Okay.
If you look down the stairs, you can see that, like that wall or that aura is starting to like spread and make its way towards the front door.
Okay.
You'll probably only have a few moments before that hits the door.
Yeah, I'm going to, as quickly and as stealthily as possible, make my way down the stairs toward the front door.
Need you to make me a stealth check, please.
Let me sheet here. Okay. Ooh, 25.
Oh yeah. Okay. You managed to get to the door, and now here's the thing: you still have to open the door. Everyone's looking at around the house. Like someone's gonna probably see you open the door, but you can at least get out. And you only have a moment to decide. You have a moment to decide.
Okay, so as I'm approaching the door, I'm gonna mage hand the door open.
Okay, that's fine. The door still opens.
Right, but at least they're looking at the door and not at me, and then your
mage hand is very visible.
No, they can see the mage hand. I don't fucking care about the mage hand.
Okay.
But I don't want them looking at me before I get to the door.
Yeah, the attention is briefly shown to the door so that at least maybe like what you look like might have been a little bit more obscured or not as well noticed. Oh, not a bad play.
Right.
A little misdirection. Okay. You make it outside, but then as soon as you make it out, you can feel like that magic just sort of seal the house shut.
Yeah.
All of the blinds just close instantly. And then all the shutters shut on the house, on their own. And then also you can hear an alarm start to blare. Some sort of like a magical sort of like a siren starts to sound like emanating from the house itself. And now the guards that are at the gate are on high alert.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna attempt to cast invisibility again.
Okay. Sure. It works.
Okay. Yeah, I was kind of hoping that maybe that it was the house that was affecting the magic. So
it was the house.
I take a quick breath of relief, and then I stroll away from the house.
While that's happening, obviously, Jarrell, Boris, while you're in mid-conversation with Cheryl, who, again, is doing that thing where she's keeping you in the conversation longer than, like, every time Jarrell tries to butt in being like, well, it was nice talking to you, or, like, whatever nice, polite thing that Jarrell's about to say, she just talks over you and starts complimenting you, or, commenting on how nice your hair looks, or how, like, there's
my hair or Boris's hair?
Yes, both of you. I mean, she's just showering you in compliments, like thanking you so much. She's even opened up one of the boxes of cookies and is eating them as she's talking to you. And then the alarm goes off, and she like looks up and she's like, "Oh, honey, you better get out of here quick. I don't know what's going on, but that doesn't sound good. You should go. To stay safe, okay? Do you have somewhere to go? Do you just want to like take shelter in my house? Like, I'm happy to, take you in for a minute if you just need somewhere to be."
No, thank you. It's probably best that we get going then, if you say so.
Okay, well, thank you. It was so nice talking to you both. And then she immediately shuts the door, and you can hear like another whoosh as she shuts the door as something like locks like magically behind. It's like almost like all of these houses in this neighborhood are like have some sort of like security system installed.
All connected to it, like they all shut on at this shut down at the same time, kind of thing,
can be, or maybe not, right? Because she that was manually initiated, but now like some of the guards from the gate are, clomping up the street, and you can see like one of the guys that you sold cookies to, Boris, looks at you and is like, "Little girl, it's time to go. Something's going on, and we don't want anything to happen to you. So please clear out."
Chris is just gonna nod and start heading back in the direction of the gate. Then.
Yep. Now, you guys remember when Hedrick had scouted out initially, he saw the two guards at the top of the towers at the gate that enter, that sort of separates this community or this like little neighborhood from the rest of the 9th Ward. And there was two down by the gates. You can see that, there was obviously some sort of tower structure that, goes up, and there's many more guards pouring out from those little towers than just the 4 that were scouted out. So they must have been inside or something like that. Might be like a barracks or something, like a tiny one.
Yep.
There's actually currently a detachment of 4 guards making their way up the street towards the Ebonezzar residence. Quinn, what are you doing? You said you're strolling. These guards are, sort of these private guards, it looks like, right? They don't necessarily, I think I remember mentioning, they don't bear the symbols of the city of Ul or anything like that. They are like private security. But they are making their way up the road to see what's going on. If you were to stay on the road, you might bump into them, so you may have to kind of move yourself off a bit.
So they're coming toward me?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Because you're up the street. You're a few houses up the street. They're coming from where you came in from.
Yeah, I
you can see Jarrell and Boris. You can see Jarrell and Boris making their way to the gate, which is still closed, but they're going to probably, and it looks like they're opening it for Boris and Jarrell. But if you're not fast enough, that's going to close probably behind them, and you're invisible.
Okay, I sidestep the guards, and then kind of two-time it, I guess, quickly toward
Make me another
Jarrell
stealth check just to kind of see how light your footsteps are as you're starting to kind of pick up the pace.
Jesus. Come on. Okay, 18.
18's good enough because the sounds of the metal boots clomping on the road is enough to muffle the sounds of your leather boots sort of kind of scuffling their way along. You manage to kind of stay light on your feet as you make your way right in behind Jarrell and Boris as they are now approaching the gates.
I tap Jarrell on his right shoulder.
I don't even know if Jarrell feels that he's wearing a fucking suit of armor. Oh no, you're in your appropriate clothes.
I'm not.
Never mind.
Yep.
Yeah, Jarrell definitely feels it.
Of whether Jarrell feels it, I have blind sense, so I would have known when he walked within 10 feet of the circle.
Yes,
of
you do.
Immediately.
Exactly, and
which is why I didn't tap you.
You can tell it's Quinn.
And when Boris knows Quinn is approaching, Boris is going to fake a trip. So, the attention's kind of on her. Just, kind of fake a little stumble, right? Not, actually hit the ground, but, the guards
right as the gate opens.
Girl.
Yes, and they focus and oh, you okay? And in that moment, the gate is open still. So, Quinn, you probably have an opportunity right now to kind of go out before them if you wanted to. And I'm assuming you do.
I do.
Okay. Your help to your feet, Boris, and you and Jarrell are escorted out of the community. Pregnart, 0. You have a limp Hedrick with you, as well as you can hear the alarm from where you are in this park. You're only maybe a mile and a half away from this, where you had left your party, and it's loud. It sounds almost I'm not going to say an air raid siren. It's not as intense as that, but it's just blaring wee-oo.
Okay, so the first question I want to ask is, sorry.
It looks like Hedrick is being very relaxed by this siren.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Hedrick, he's getting a foot massage or something like that. So is he seated? Is he lying down? How is he?
I think
would he have gone limp into a way I would have noticed?
I think he was reclined against a tree. I think we were in the shade of a tree, and he was.
But he was still waving.
Oh, in that case, hold on a second. I have a way I can determine this.
This might be just what my brain made up as a scenario, but I think that's right.
No, the way we determine what's happening is with a good old-fashioned die roll, because, what else are we playing this game if not to arbitrarily roll dice sometimes?
Let's do it!
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, yeah. Hedrick does, when he's limp, you didn't notice it maybe right away, he'd go a little bit more slack, but that could have just been a weird autonomous reflex. But the more that Pregnart's been working, eventually Pregnart kind of has to move his leg a little bit to get to a certain spot, and then the whole body just tips over to the side from where it was leaned against the tree, and it's just motionless. His face is down into the dirt.
0 kind of looks down. Is that total relaxation?
Yeah, he is totally relaxed.
Oh, good job.
Do you want the foot massage next? I give really good ones, I guess.
I suppose. I'm not sure it would work quite the same.
Should I? Are you gonna should I do an insight check? Echoing. Please just make me do an insight check. I have no idea. Pregnart's not gonna.
If you want me to force you to do an insight check, I'm happy to. Please do please make me an insight check. What are you trying to incite here? And not incite. What are you trying to I guess like what are you trying to gain a better like
Well, I'm definitely like making the wrong call initially.
I understand.
I'm trying to speak from my character. Yeah.
Yeah, understood. Please, yes, make me an insight check.
15.
15. I mean, it could go either way, man. I mean, listen, this is not the first person that you've made almost catatonic with your foot massages. You remember finally a time where you actually put Dr. Dedu into like an 8-hour like mild coma from an incredible foot massage. He loved it, but insisted you never do it again.
That alarm. That's probably us, isn't it?
You think? Are you sure?
Well, not us, but the greater us. The
Funny
one
because
yeah.
You think the potency of my foot massage set off an alarm?
Well, I mean, look what it did to the last guy.
Dr. Dedu said I should never do it again. So yeah, that alarm is probably because my foot massage is too good.
Okay.
Is nearly magical, and that got us into trouble earlier today.
I think our friends getting into trouble might be slightly more likely, but an interest of balance and fairness in science, I don't want to count that out because, empirical evidence shows the last 2 foot massages you've given are pretty damn good. I'm not sure they're alarm worthy, but I don't know what alarm worthy is for a foot massage. I know what alarm worthy is for larceny, though, and I know our friends have it in them.
I remember we said we would make a signal, but I don't know if we ever actually followed through on that plan.
Well, I mean, we're not in danger. If anything, we're listening for a signal from them. I doubt it's an alarm because that's so common for us. It's like an all the time thing. Maybe
we should go back to the place we are staying.
I've personally had worse ideas in the last couple of days, so do you want to get aside and I'll get aside and we'll haul this clearly catatonic individual back to our lodging?
No, we have to make
Zero. You
make
are strong enough to literally just sling him over your shoulder if you wanted to. Like there is.
I have to make it look like he's walking.
Yeah, Zero pauses, looks at that diagonal down at Pregnart, and kind of back up, and the down up. Yeah, I guess there's kind of a size mismatch, and just slings the body over his shoulder.
No, we have to make it look like he's walking. Specifically, we have to make it look like he's walking
him
me.
Here in the first place.
You did. You did. You literally had him like rigid as a board.
Oh wait, I had him under an arm.
Under your arm. Yeah.
So in the interest of trying to do it the same way this time, I lift him under the arm. I imagine he's not nearly as rigid and sort of flops over at both ends.
Yes, he is like literally a rag doll, like eyes closed, just like unconscious.
Pregnart attaches the handle side of his leash to Hedrick's hand and assumes his dog, frog, duck act.
Hold on. Are you suggesting that? I'm just trying to picture. I want to make sure that I
pretty cut and dry, Fran.
And our audience have a good mental picture.
Pregnart is leading the pack. Pregnart is a dog, frog, duck.
Okay.
He's got a leash and collar, and that leash is attached to Hedrick's hand, and Hedrick is stiff as a board with his hand out in front of him, under Zero's arm.
Except for the part where he's no longer as stiff as a board.
Oh, yeah, he's slumped over. He's
very floppy
now.
Yes.
He's floppy now.
So Zero tries probably about 3 or 4 different ways to hook him under an arm, just to have his limbs go down to the ground. And then I have to give up.
You are literally strong enough to probably just like hold him up like this, like just like where his arms are draped over like your arms, so like you're just like kind of holding him up, and like his toes are just kind of like dragging on
the floor. Zero, what are you doing? Support the head.
Yeah, his head is kind of like it's just
because Zero would have no idea how to handle a baby.
Yeah. No, Zero. Pregnart shows Zero how to hold Hedrick like a baby. He talks him through cradling him and supporting the head.
Zero does his best, and I think at some point we're able to find a way to properly carry him in some way, shape, or form. It's
It
awkward.
is. Here's how I'm going to put it. There is absolutely no way that you're going to walk down the street like this and not, again, turn a few heads. So I just want you to know that the current sort of configuration in which you are doing this is going to draw a lot of attention.
Okay, that's
To you.
you know what? Honestly, that's fine.
Okay.
They're all looking at us, right?
I mean, a lot of people in the park are just kind of like, you just see them like look over and like, like mutter to themselves. Like,
Good.
they're, it's not really like, I mean, no one's like pointing and like calling the cops or anything like that, right? But just,
Yeah. Well, good. If everyone's looking at the three of us, guess who everybody's not looking at?
Well, yeah, but you're not there yet. You're on your way. You're on your way.
Yeah.
Still in the park.
Well, I mean, between that and the sirens and stuff, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot of other
like
stuff
some
going
people
on,
might be
yes.
able to slip out of some places unnoticed with all this other sideshow happening.
Yep. So you guys start heading back towards. Are you heading towards the gates to that community, or are you heading back towards the place you were staying?
Oh no, we're heading back to our lodging. I figure they'll meet us there.
Okay, so I have you guys as heading back there then. I think that was called the Garden Inn, if I remember correctly, or the.
Let's see. No, before Villa Ebenezer, we're going back a few pages.
I'm trying to read my own handwriting, and it's atrocious to
Yes,
the point
the Garden
where I
Inn. We were at the
Okay.
Garden Inn, then we went to Maven's Bakery, then we went back to the Garden Inn,
Yep.
and
Hey,
then
good
we
to
wound
go.
up at Villa Ebenezer.
You arrive at the Garden Inn. Jarrell, Boris, Quinn, you guys are now in out of the gates. The guards have their attention elsewhere. One or two guys stays behind at the gate itself just to make sure that the exit is covered. But there's definitely a commotion happening up at the Ebenezer residence. So after about 5 minutes or so, the alarm stops. So the air is a bit quiet again. But you guys are, are you going somewhere? Like, you're collected. Quinn's still invisible, and then we got Boris and Drill just kind of standing in the street right now.
Yeah, I figured we'd head back to the hotel, probably.
Okay.
As we're
go ahead.
walking away, though, just Boris is going to take a look at the gates and just kind of the way it's set up, like a detailed mental picture.
It is a one of those like crossed hatched like iron like bar type
Old
like
school castle
gate.
drop down.
Yes, but it has and it has one of those things where it has like a door built into it that can be opened so that you don't have to like raise the whole gate or like drop the whole gate to just traverse in and out like quickly if you want to just get like one or two people in and out. So it has like two methods of opening. There's a locked like iron like door built into the gate, and then the gate itself has like a raising, lowering, like sort of pulley mechanic to it,
Okay.
a la like castles.
And then there's a tower on each side
Yes.
of the gate. And then the doors to get into those towers, were those on the other side from...
Because we're on the inside.
Okay, so there's no doors into towers from the side that we're on now.
No, the entry to those towers are solely on the inside.
Okay. That's the extent of Boris's observation. She will skip alongside Jarrell.
All right, Quinn. At what point do you become visible again?
When I feel like it. I would say, with the hustle and bustle kind of going on, I just kind of like find a time when, nobody really around is really looking at the group and just make myself visible.
There's plenty of time like that.
Yeah.
Probably just duck into an alley real quick. Boop, I'm here. All right.
Yep. Hey, guys.
And you all meet in the lobby of the Garden Inn. Hey, we're back together again. The gang's all here. And now Quinn, Jarrell, and Boris, you see that, it looks like Zero and Pregnant are potentially trying to escort a limp or drunk Hedrick up to your room.
We need to get him down for a nap.
You head to the hotel.
I wouldn't have believed if I didn't see it. The crazy frog really foot rubbed the guy into a coma.
So I don't think I've ever really described too much of what the Garden Inn looks like, on the inside, but like the actual foyer is just covered in like hanging plants, and there's like a nice, beautiful like center, like flower bed type area that's sort of like creates like sort of as like a rectangle in the center of the lobby, so you kind of like walk around the flower bed to get to like the main desk. and then there's stairs on either side to go up into the different rooms and whatnot, and then there's some of the rooms on the ground floor. The hotel concierge, as you're kind of walking towards the stairs towards your lodging, does just kind of like look at you guys for a moment and say, like, is your friend okay? Do they need medical attention?
He's very tired. I gave him too good a foot massage. He needs to have a nap now.
Oh, okay. Well, just let us know if we can do anything to make your stay more comfortable. Because they also remember that, you did just show up and just drop a bunch of gold bars on the fucking counter, so...
Can you send a couple bath bombs up to our room?
Absolutely, right away, my good frog sir.
Bernard knows his way around what's it called? Self-care scenario.
Of course. Why wouldn't he? He is just so well-adjusted, this man.
Yeah, that's one word for it.
Yeah. All right, so you guys make it up to your room. I guess now you have some time to sort of decompress and let's, share what you experienced. So now everyone kind of is on the same page as far as what was witnessed and sort of, inside the residence. So we can kind of maybe talk about that a little bit. You can formulate your next steps.
So, anything happened today?
Quinn pulls out the journal that he took from the desk and kind of hands it to Zero and says, do you have any sort of book reading application?
Well, let's see what we have. And it plunks it down on, I assume there's some sort of table in the middle of the room that maybe people could congregate around or
Of course there is.
Yeah, so the first thing Zero's going to do, kind of scooch a chair out, plunk that book down, crack it open on the table, and we're going to see what we're dealing with here.
Boris pulls a box of cookies out of her bag and puts them in the middle of the table.
Yes!
Well, the first thing you know is that I think, did you manage to unlock the journal by the time you, I forget if you managed to get the lock open on that journal.
I don't remember.
Going on.
Okay, Zero was unaware of any lock, so if there is a lock, his attempt
there was a lock on the
journal.
I believe, right? The one that you found in the desk. There was a lock.
Yeah,
okay.
I can't remember if we unlocked it or not. I do have thieves' tools.
Of course you do.
You do.
I am
So does somebody else here.
Yeah, and that's the first thing Zero is going to do is push the book over to Boris. Lady Baroness, you mind doing the honors?
And I was going to say, you know what? And I'll even say for if there is a lack of consistency here between this was unlocked at some point and it wasn't, if I go back and listen, it'd be like, oh shit, I forgot. Y'all were in a hurry, so when you closed it to put it in your,
I might have relocked it
and reclassed the lock. Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, Boris will crack her knuckles and then attempt to unlock it as fast and smoothly as humanly possible. She's trying.
It takes you no time at all. It takes you no time at all. This is one of the most rudimentary locks you've ever worked with in your life.
Interesting. It's interesting that it's. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
Did I actually take out my thieves' tools for this then? I'm gonna revert this. Boris looks at it, notices that it's one of the most rudimentary locks that she's ever looked at in her life, and just pulls out a bobby pin, sticks it in the hole, and presses a button, and it just pops open like my first diary.
Yeah.
It opens, and you notice that the pages are all blank, but except for what's behind the front cover. There's a section where you could, where you would put your name and whatnot, right? You see that this is the name that has been scrawled here is one Filbert Blackwood.
Filbert?
Filbert.
Filbert?
Filbert.
That's a stupid name.
It's such a cute name.
The duality of man.
I wish it were Ebonezzar Jr.
But the pages are all blank.
That's inconvenient.
I don't believe it.
All right. Anybody got any theories as to why this kid, Filbert, his notebook was blank?
What do you mean? You can't believe it's blank, or you can't believe his name is actually Filbert?
We're talking about a wizard here.
Your name is Pregnart.
Yeah,
True.
perfectly. That's normal name.
Pregnart argues with the voice beyond the fourth wall.
There's nothing wrong with me.
Except you're talking to somebody that's not there. Please, eyes on me. This is a wizard boy who has a journal that is locked but blank. This seems bizarre to me.
Yeah, it seems a little incongruous.
I would be able to determine if there's some sort of magic over the journal that's keeping us from seeing the words.
That would be great.
What are you doing to the journal?
Just, I would use the ritual of detect magic to see if there's magic on it. That's
Yeah, it
making
takes about
it
10 minutes.
Yeah, that we can't see the words.
There's magic splattered all over it.
All right, y'all just let you guys let Jarrell cast the spell, right? It's 10 minutes, right? I feel like that's plenty of time to do shit while Jarrell is like, or whatever he's doing.
Assuming Jarrell needs the journal to be doing that, right? I can't be fiddling with the journal at the same. Okay.
Pregnart swaddles Hedrick.
So
he is swaddled.
What are our theories here about this book? And you can tell over the last little bit, Zero's eyes have gone back to red as hell.
Okay. Quinn informs Zero and the others who weren't there of what I heard in the house.
Okay, so we have a magical student who's the progeny of the most famous wizard of his generation. So we're just going to go ahead and assume that he's probably got just a little bit of pressure on him to perform.
And we all know what it's like to have pressure to perform. I mean, I don't, but most of us do.
Okay.
Your virility aside, so student's been kicked out of a major magical academy for whatever. Turns out it looks like messed something up, was it?
One can assume.
Okay. I'm gathering through context clues I've gathered to you guys here. So, do we think the school could have reached out and deleted his notes after he was removed?
In a written book?
The greatest magical academy of its time.
Sure. Yes. It's possible.
It's possible. We've got that.
Seems more likely he just wants to hide his notes.
That would be my assumption.
Another idea I've had is he's not very good, right? What if he just wasn't taking notes?
Why would he lock it?
So his parents don't find out.
Jarrell, can I ask you for a favor?
Yep.
Can you make just some sort of very what does it sound like when Jarrell is performing a ritual? Can you just make up some sort of random incantation I can just play in the background right now?
Yeah, just kind of
while they're having this conversation.
It's what he's doing the whole ritual.
Perfect, because I may loop that a few times in the background or something like that. This whole conversation is happening over the backdrop of Jarrell performing
chanting.
this ritual.
Over some really soothing Gregorian chant.
Because I just think that's really funny to me, and I wanna just highlight that, right? Because you're having this conversation while Jarrell is performing a ritual next to you.
Yeah, and an aside, that's the detail that's turning the scene from good to great.
Exactly. So so this conversation is continuing, right? You guys are pontificating over the contents of this journal, and then eventually Jarrell does finish the ritual. You have any sort of is there any sort of finish to that loop of Gregorian chant there? Climax.
I mean, it's kind of
ritual? And it just trails out. Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Does he just say the end at the end of it?
The end.
The
end. Chef's kiss. So the ritual finishes. Yeah, this is definitely enchanted, Jarrell. You know it is the school of enchantment. Whatever spell is cast on this is definitely an enchantment.
Okay. Pregnant, you're quite talented with magic. Do you have anything that could help us read this?
I don't think so. I mean, I could pretend to have a wizard spell. That's sort of my thing. But I'm actually, if you want something to actually work, I don't think I have anything that will work.
If it's not made of water already?
Let me try to remember.
Because remove curse wouldn't do it. Dispel
So
magic
that's it.
might, but I think that might also take out the words.
I have to ask here because it's been more than 10 minutes that we've been sitting here. What did we do with, or what was done with fake Hedrick when we came? Like, is he just
He's
swaddled at
swaddled.
the table?
He is swaddled.
But like,
Yes,
where was he
yes,
put when he was swaddled? Is he,
Is he just like sitting? Yeah, he's just like propped up on a chair.
Slumped on the table.
He's
like-
in bed. He's in bed.
He's in
he
bed.
needs a nap.
Okay.
He's swaddled.
Okay.
And Pregnard casts enlarge on the journal.
Okay, great.
You notice that you try to cast enlarge in the journal, and the spell fizzles.
Shit.
It's okay. We learned something from that too.
Do I know if the words are written in magic and it would not be? So I
You
can't
can't.
have
I mean, no. You know that. You just know that the journal itself has been enchanted
right.
by some sort of spell. It is actually
If
okay.
I-
Actually, and I'm sorry. Enchantment is not a school of magic. It is illusion magic that is some sort of illusion magic that has been cast on the journal. Because
So-
detect magic does reveal the
Yes,
type of
yes.
what school of magic the spell is from, and it is definitely an illusion.
So
of some
dispel magic might not necessarily help in this situation because the words might be written with magic.
Maybe,
No.
but the fact that it's an illusion tells us things. That there's an illusion there to obfuscate something. You're right that the words might be caught up into it. It's entirely possible we might destroy this whole book by casting the wrong spell on it.
Yeah, Boris is gonna take a long shot here. She's gonna take a look at the journal and she's gonna pull one of the monocles out of her
I was
pocket
just
that she still
thinking
has
that
from
too.
heaven. And she's gonna try to look at the journal
Well,
with
not
a
from
heaven
heaven.
monocle on.
Not from heaven, from
From hell?
Legradex.
From Legradex. There we go.
Space,
Yeah,
the
pre-heaven.
the place outside of time and space, the gateway to all worlds.
Yes,
The one that
she's
led
gonna
us
pull out
into
one of
heaven
those
or hell.
monocles
Mm-hmm.
and look at the journal with a monocle on.
Well, the journal is sparkling with colors, like it's like covered in this sort of like aura of like almost like an aurora, sort of just
Ooh,
shifting
pretty.
across it. But that's really all you see.
At this time, at this latitude, located entirely inside this hotel room?
I'm not gonna. I don't know what you want from me.
Quinn, do you think it would be a good idea for me to try to dispel magic on this, or is there anything you're capable of? That's
Yeah.
pretty much
yes,
all I have
yes,
for me now.
yes, make Quinn responsible for the decision of you casting Dispel Magic or not, so it's his fault if it goes wrong.
Well, because Quinn
I-
has stuff he can maybe do as well. It depends.
No, you're doing
I-
great. That's like that. You're pulling a trick right out of Felix's book.
Seriously. I don't. I've been trying to scan my spells. There's nothing, and stupidly, I have nothing that has anything to do with illusions or writing or scribing or anything in my magical toolbox.
Would it be an
Which just
Arcana
seems
check?
perfectly Quinn, because of course he doesn't have any of that stuff, but he should.
What's
Would
that?
it be an Arcana check or an investigate? I want to see if there's like any inscription on the journal or anything that could be a detail in the lock or anything that could help us solve whatever's going on here.
I might save you some time here and suggest and say like, I mean, maybe an Arcana check might help you understand a little bit more about the nature of the magic that's been cast on this, not knowing that it's an illusion spell. But the detect magic gave you a fair amount of information that you might be able to, pull from that. But I would say if there's any appropriate check, it would be Arcana. There's some more I could probably tell you about this if you have a high enough roll.
It's 15.
A 15. There's many variations of ways that illusions can be used on books or textbooks or text itself. You can make illusory text appear on things. You can use illusions to obfuscate things, or make things appear as they aren't. But you can't really pinpoint the exact, maybe the spell that was cast here. You have a general understanding that illusions can be used a couple different ways to sort of make things look something not as they appear. Make things look different than what they actually would look like. Right, because what you have right now is effectively some sort of enchanted journal with the kid's name in it, and every other page being blank.
Zero has gotten up and has started pacing by the window. His hands kind of folded behind his back in a way that he doesn't normally do. He's very pensive and lost in thought.
Yeah, and the way that feels for you, Zero, with being the fact that, it's no secret, the soul or the essence of Moradin resides inside of you. His personality is very much present, but obviously his sort of, I wouldn't say omniscient, but godlike powers are more I guess the best way I can liken it is that, his spark resides within you, right? If you're familiar with sort of the concept of a divine spark, right? His personality is very much connected to you and can be accessed, and obviously comes through in these moments. But the way you feel in this moment, you're very much still I'm not gonna call you immortal, because that's not you're not mortal. You're not you having this spark within you gives Zero, when you are Moradin, more of an emotional range or feeling than maybe this form is accustomed to.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to indicate through roleplay that Moradin is kind of at the wheel right now.
Yes.
Yeah, that's sort of the distinction I've been making with the eyes, and sort of at least trying to change.
Yeah, but I don't know if we've ever really sort of explained that too much, and I kind of wanted to just sort of, give that that layer of understanding for people listening.
Yeah, you're right. I'm doing a lot of telling or a lot of showing, but not quite enough telling with it. But yeah. Yeah, eventually Zero kind of comes to a stop. Occam's razor. Turns to the table. Is it more likely that this student of questionable academic quality cast a spell that obfuscated both the text and the fact that there's no text, and these two enchantments or one really complex enchantment is all inextricably intertwined with each other? Or did he just cast an illusion to cover up the pages?
Pragnart takes out his pen. He has a quill pen, and he opens the book to the last page, and on the bottom right-hand corner of the last page, he makes a test mark with his quill pen.
Cool. The mark appears briefly, and then disappears.
Quinn, do you want me to do the spell magic, or I think you are stronger with that than I am.
But I don't have a spell that can do that.
You
Patrick
don't
does,
have.
and he is incapacitated.
Oh, I thought you had to spell
Right.
magic. Okay.
No, I should, and I don't.
Okay.
I was also seeing if I had True Sight. I think I had it at some point early on in the show, and then I got rid of it. Dumb.
That's a great spell.
You know why I got rid of it? Because we had 14 other things that had True Sight, so I was just I don't need this.
No one has True Sight.
Well, you had the goggles, didn't you?
That's magic detection, buddy. I don't have True Sight.
So
Close
my
enough.
dispel magic says I don't have the full sheet in front of me.
Okay, the way the spell magic works, because we've gone over it a couple times, we'll just kind of
Yeah.
yada this one real quick.
I want to make sure it still works the same for me.
At whatever level you cast, it's the same. Works the same for everybody. Whatever level you cast Dispel Magic at, if a spell of that level or lower exists on the object or whatever you're casting it on, it ends. If the spell level is higher than what level you're casting Dispel Magic at, you have to make a die roll to determine whether or not you can dispel the enchantment.
Right.
So if you would just need to tell me what level you are casting Dispel Magic at, and then I'll either tell you magic is dispelled, or you have to make a check.
I'll do it at 4th.
At 4th level. Okay. You cast Dispel Magic, and immediately the fragile enchantment that was on this book shatters. And all of the writing inside becomes legible. You can see now the mark that Pregnart made on the last page is now covering up a couple like letters. This thing is actually filled out to the fullest. There's not a single page that has not been written in.
I thought so.
Okay.
Zero, you want to start reading?
Yeah, sure. May I?
Yep.
Grabs
I'll
the book,
give
sets
to
it
him.
on the table, kind of sets it there, flips it open to the first page. Do we have something I could set this on? Maybe bring it up a couple of inches?
Would you like a lectern?
Do we have even a couple of books or something in this room? Just find something real quick, puts it under the book just to lift it up about 6 inches. And you can see him like kind of rock back and forth, stop in this position. You can almost hear like something go ka-chunk. And he brings up his arm and just goes, it like inhuman speed blasts through and ingests the whole book.
Oh my,
Alright,
there's
so
a
what do we need to know?
lot.
Don't
There's a
eat it.
lot, a lot to absorb here, Zero. Even in your, blast, speed read of this.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
this
it's
is
now he can go to those images in his head and interpret them because he didn't even have time to parse them. It was just
information. Yeah, information
Download.
upload. Okay.
Copy.
Ooh,
Control
boy.
C.
This is the journal of one angsty and dissatisfied teenager. You can see that the first date of entry was 2 years ago, and the last was 2 days ago. It starts with, it starts as just like a normal journal, like a diary that a young adult would keep, like if they were in high school or something like that, right? If that's a thing that people still do. That's a relic of the past, but
There's
some
like
of
a
us-
little sketch drawing of a tree with a chain and a heart hanging off of it.
Yeah, but it's more filled with just ranting about things that happened at school, things like ways that people it's essentially just everything from being picked on by other students because of his lack of skill, he's falling behind in his classes. He's got this nerdy name that everyone makes fun of him for having. When his dad has the most badass wizard name out there. There's a lot of almost these you get this feeling he is constantly being compared to his father, who is just incredible, one of the most revolutionary wizards of our time, and he's constantly living in this man's shadow. Constantly being compared to him, and every time he fails, every time he fucks up, every time he fails a class or does something, something, and this journal is full of those documentations of all the failures he's had. It just feels like each one just hit harder than the last because constantly he's not able to live up to his father's expectations, and he doesn't even feel necessarily a disdain or anything like that towards his father. It's more just feeling like he's not good enough to walk in his shoes. And he said, you can see things about him saying how he feels like his dad, tries to be supportive, but he knows deep down his dad doesn't feel doesn't actually believe in him. He just says the things to make him feel better. It goes over there's a lot of that stuff, and that's about the first 3/4 of the journal. It's just sort of this sort of almost descent into what's the word I'm looking for? It's just sort
almost
of almost
self-loathing.
Self-loathing, and a lot of just
Disillusion.
helplessness and disillusion, and the writing becomes much more aggressive as time goes on. Because you can feel this almost determination in this kid's writing. Is it as though he's he wants so badly to do nothing more than to do something so incredible that his father and the people of Uul will finally see the potential he does have, right? If they could only just stop comparing them to his dad, he can show them, really what he can do. And then the towards the end of the journal, there's actually a lot of diagrams being drawn. You can see that there's diagrams of that large, like the structures that are supporting the column of like pure magical energy that just is blasting out, in front of the tower, that's sort of supported and being maintained by this sort of like, these magical like structures that have been built, these like containment structures, and harnessing structures. And there's also like documentation of what appears to be like there's almost like a slice in half view of like where it shows you a bit of underground and some of the facilities and things that exist below ground, both in the tower and like how it's connected also to what's underneath this column of light, because it actually extends below the surface, and there's laboratories and things like that down there. There's a lot of equations and things like that are in here. In here, you can see a lot of ones that were crossed out, or ones that have a lot of edits, or like things in different ink, where he may have edited things or whatnot. So like a lot of meta math that would be done in like none of you are like wizards. Like a lot of you have magic that comes from other sources. But anyone who's even remotely familiar with magic knows that like a lot of this stuff is how wizards figure out how to cast complex magic. Is that it's a lot of math, and it's a lot of like, like just like there's different formulas and things like that to be able to achieve what you want to achieve. There's also like drawings of like these sort of almost like starry portals. You can see that they've actually been painted in here. And one of them depicts this starry portal with what looks to be a small like a box. It looks very much like a Modron, like 31 squared when you first met him, pointing at this sort of like ovally like portal that has like all this like miasma of stars in it. And there's some notes here, about how like some sort of weird like calibration things, like a timeline alignment, planetary alignments, and sort of wisdom from Mechanus, right? And like there's even like some mention of like rogue Modrons and the knowledge that they possess and whatnot. There's a ton of stuff in here. Like this kid is getting into some really high level shit. And the last entry just simply says that he's finally figured it out, and soon, once the stars align, literally, he'll be able to do something that will change the lives of and Teldurians forever. Like he has some sort of grand idea that he can perform like some sort of ritual that will actually enhance the levels of magic that are being channeled from this like ley line, is what it's being described as in this book of its pure magical energy. It's like literally this realm's and this plane's connection to the weave, which controls all, which is where all magic comes from and is pulled from.
Change the lives of all Teldurians. Well, he wasn't wrong. Maybe but for the fact that the person casting this literally cannot conjure a sandwich properly. And now we've got our who, we've got our what, we've got our why, and he picks up the book, looks at some of the later diagrams, and literally like flips them 360 degrees. If somebody can make heads or tails of some of these charts, we might even have a when.
Well, you kind of have a when.
Yeah. Well, also,
I mean, yes,
Quinn,
but I was striving for specificity. Nameless voice from the cosmos.
if it's the stars aligning, Quinn should be able to figure that out.
Pragnar casts enlarge on the journal.
Yeah, for the second time.
The journal is enlarged by one size category.
Why do I know the stars?
Because you're convinced you are one.
Well, I mean, you use them to navigate.
Oh, that's true. I was thinking astrology, and that's why I was like, what?
Astrology.
Or astronomy. Astrology. That's what I was thinking.
Navigating by astrology. Here we go, boys.
I was like, I don't know.
Actually,
Cancer.
hang on. I'm putting that in my notes file.
Gemini,
Mercury. Well,
call it-
listen, guys. As I say, Mercury is in retrograde. We can't go sailing tonight, guys.
or for the next couple months.
Anyways, but that's what you gather from the journal. And oh boy, as I feel like I see the gears turning. But before we keep going, before we even allow a plan to formulate, we're going to have to call this episode of the Hapless Heroes podcast.
Aw,
Indeed.
shucky duckies.
You're just gonna have to just take these little crumbs we gave you and hold on till next week where we reveal some more shit. But in the meantime, if you like us, you can find us on the internet. We're on such places as Twitter and Instagram at Hapless Heroes, and on Reddit and Facebook, just look for Hapless Heroes Podcast. A lot of those places have sticky posts that will direct you to really the mecca of our discussion content, and that is our Discord server, where you can meet, interact with us, and the lovely members of our audience who have been participating in starting so many different discussions in there. It's really just it's popping off. It's really a wonderful thing to see, and I just we encourage you to join that community. It's really a great time. If you really like us, though, you could leave us a 5-star review or rating on the podcast service of your choice. Those all help us in the various algorithms out there that, put this podcast as a recommended thing for other people to listen to. And hey, we'll take it in any way we can get, whether it's, you doing an If You Really Love Us to promote our show, or, just saying some nice things about us to some strangers on the internet and tell them to listen to our show. And if the podcast service you have doesn't offer reviews, we also have a channel in our Discord server if you just want to say something nice. And haplessheroes@gmail.com is our email address if you want to send something there. If you leave us a nice review, hey, we'll read it on the air. We'll say some nice things about you. So send us your nice things, and it's going to be just we'll just shower each other in love and affection. It's a really great time. But if you really, really like us and want to show your love and affection in a monetary form, you can donate to our Patreon. It's just patreon.com/haplessheroes. Variety of rewards on there. I'm actually going to the store this week, and I'm going to go buy one of those hot chips. Who's in with me, by the way?
I am.
For that.
I'm going to get one.
In. I think Phil said he was in.
I guess, yeah.
John's in.
I do enjoy hot stuff.
All right,
Mike's
we got
in.
5 of us. That's 5 is good.
That's good enough. I'll get OBS. I'll run OBS, and I'll capture all of our videos so we can get the reactions and everything like that, and then we'll upload that to maybe a private link on YouTube or something like that and stick it on Patreon. So yes, it's happening. It's happening soon, because if I don't do it, then I'm never going to do it. So I'm literally going grocery shopping tomorrow, and I'm going to pick one of those effing things up. And so we encourage you to join us, patreon.com/haplessheroes, and we'll see you there.
And if you like us right now, you like us, Sally Field and the whole deal, bake a cake and draw your favorite Hapless Heroes character with icing on it. It should be a sheet cake, I guess. I guess you can, whatever
size canvas really suits you.
If you want to make it really small, that might be interesting too. Send it to your state governor and attach a note and say, here's a cake. It is depicting my favorite character from my favorite podcast, and you should make it the law of the land that every citizen should listen to Hapless Heroes podcast.
I feel like that's
try to get that
social change in a really positive way right there.
Yeah, there's nothing more important, I think, that your state governor should
no, I think that really their only job should be to promote our podcast. I think you're really on something here.
How do local, regional governments work outside of this country? I'm talking about the United States, I guess. But if you're in another country, send it to I guess somebody else.
Your equivalent of.
Yeah. I know I'm wrong, but I always assume other people's local governments work better than ours.
Yeah,
but probably not. Everyone's equally dysfunctional.
That's a topic for another podcast. But yeah, totally doable. I don't see anything wrong with this plan. So I guess there's nothing left to do besides outro this cast for you. Starting on my virtual right, we had John playing Lord Jarrell the Light.
Until next time.
Zach as Pregnart.
Wow, I can take a nap inside the book now.
Nicole as Boris the Butcher.
Speaking of naps, I'm thinking I might want one of those amazing foot rubs.
Mike as Lord and Captain Quinn Southwind.
I shall read the stars and tell the future.
And Dave as Zero, Valen's Avatar of War.
One day a killer, the next day an investigator, another day possibly a baker. I should have gotten into this adventuring thing thousands of years ago.
And I'm Francesco. I've been your host and DM. We will see you beautiful people next week. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.